Welcome to Dark Tales, the podcast where we delve deep into some of the most compelling criminal mysteries from around the world. Today we're taking you on a journey through the heartbreaking and enigmatic case of Aarushi Talwar, a young girl whose life was tragically cut short in a double murder that continues to baffle investigators and captivate the nation. Before we begin, let's set the stage. The Talwar family resided in a cozy, middle-class neighborhood in Noida, India. Born on May 24, 1994 to two dentists. Aarushi Talwar was a student at the Delhi Public School and lived in Noida's Sector 25 with her parents, dentist Rajesh and Nupa Talwar, who practiced at a clinic in Sector 27 and also practiced at the Fortis Hospital where one of them was head of the dental department. On the morning of May 16, 2008, the parents, Dr. Rajesh Talwar and Dr. Nupa Talwar, awoke to a nightmare. Their 14-year-old daughter, Aarushi, was found dead in her bedroom. It's important to note that Aarushi's bedroom door was routinely locked at bedtime. The keys were usually left on Nupa's night table, but the mother later told police she couldn't remember whether she locked her daughter's door that night or not. Adding to the horror of all of this, the domestic servant, Yamprasad Banjade, was later discovered dead on the terrace on May 17. The local police swiftly initiated the investigation, but it quickly became clear that this would be no ordinary murder case. The media frenzy surrounding the incident influenced the course of events significantly. With intense scrutiny on the parents and a series of leaks to the press, the case took a sensational turn. The police suspected the parents from the outset, believing them to be the perpetrators of the double murder. Allegations of an honor killing, or a potential illicit relationship between Aarushi and Hemraj were tossed around, amplifying the public's curiosity and outrage. The police arrived at 7:15 a.m. A crowd of 15 people that the Talwars had called was already in the living room while 5 or 6 others were in the Talwars' master bedroom. Which means, the crime scene was compromised by having dozens of people throughout the house. Most of the 28 fingerprint samples police lifted from the crime scene were smudged and useless. Oddly enough, Rajesh told the police not to open the locked terrace door, and offered them 25,000 rupees, $365, to track Banjade down. The narrative that it was the live-in servant took root almost immediately. The Central Bureau of Investigation later mentioned how actively the Talwars were pushing this story. Rajesh and Nupa furthermore claimed not to have heard a single sound while the murders took place. They said that their closed door and air conditioning unit blocked out any sounds. However, the last internet usage was clocked in just after midnight, and both Aarushi and Banjade are believed to have been killed between midnight and 1 a.m. It was also discovered that the internet router, which was located in Aarushi's bedroom, was turned off at 3:43 a.m., which suggested that whoever had walked into her bedroom to turn it off either didn't notice a blood-soaked bed and dead girl lying in it, or was responsible for her death. Later on the day of the murder, doctors came to visit the Talwar residence to check up on the distraught parents. They noticed bloodstains on the handle of the terrace door which was still locked. They also noticed bloody footprints on the floor and blood stains on the staircase. Rajesh was asked by the doctors for the terrace keys, but didn't produce them and instead went inside. He remained inside for an entire day, with police unable to access the terrace. On May 17, the police broke the terrace lock open as the keys were still missing and found Banjade's decomposing body. Meanwhile, phone records show that between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. on May 16, Rajesh's older brother Dinesh, his family friend Sushil Chaudhary, the retired Deputy Superintendent of Police Gautam, and someone at an unidentified number all began to communicate while the autopsy report was being written. Dinesh called Chaudhary, who would then call Gautam. Gautam would call the unidentified number. This would then repeat, but in reverse order 6 whole times. The CBI later said these communications may have been attempts by the family to use their connection to Gautam to erase references to assault from the autopsy report. The theory goes that Rajesh may have caught his daughter having relations, perhaps consensual, perhaps not, with Banjade and killed them both in a fit of rage, and so he wanted any references to intercourse out of the report. At this point, with Banjade discovered dead, the Talwars became the prime suspects. After all, they were in the house when the murders took place. Rajesh was arrested by police on May 23. It was clear to the CBI that this was an inside job. Whoever killed Aarushi and Banjade had access to the home, as there were no signs of forced entry and the property's gate was locked. What confused everyone was why the killer would leave Banjade on the terrace, especially if those responsible lived there. One theory was that the body was hidden there in order to dispose of it after the investigation of Aarushi's crime scene had been completed. With so much media attention and people in the home, that was no longer an option. In 2010, the CBI handed its investigation over to another team that recommended closing the case. However, it named Rajesh as the only credible suspect. In 2011, the investigation was reopened and Rajesh and Nupur was named as the primary suspects. When the CBI changed its status of the closure report to a charge in February 2011, the Talwars petitioned this at the Supreme Court, but failed. They were now going to trial for their daughter's death. The trial began on May 11, 2013, and concluded with a guilty verdict for both defendants on November 25, 2013. The theory was that on the night of the murders, Rajesh heard a noise and assumed it had come from Banjade's room. He didn't find anyone in there and picked up the golf club from Banjade's room before entering Aarushi's bedroom. There he saw the pair engaged in intimate activity. Rajesh clubbed the 45-year-old servant over the head. When he tried to hit him again, Banjade moved, leading the father to accidentally strike his own daughter instead. By the time Nupur was awakened by the noise and rushed into the room, both Banjade and Aarushi were near death. The injured Banjade had fallen from the bed. Both checked Aarushi's pulse and found her near dead, which scared them, and they decided to kill Banjade, so no one discovered the incident. The married couple realized they'd have to fabricate a scenario in order to get away with the double murder of their daughter Aarushi Talwar and their servant. They wrapped Banjade's body up and took him to the terrace to get rid of his corpse another time. They slit his throat and decided to do the same to their daughter. Rajesh and Nupur cleaned the crime scene and then the couple then left the house, locked the gates from the outside, and entered the residence from Banjade's room to fool the authorities. In November 2013, after years of trials and legal proceedings, Rajesh and Nupur Talwar were sentenced to life in prison. The decision was heavily critiqued for being founded on circumstantial evidence. After years of legal battles, the Talwar couple's appeal reached the Allahabad High Court. In a shocking turn of events, the court acquitted them on October 12, 2017, ruling that the prosecution had failed to establish their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The acquittal brought relief to the Talwars, but also raised questions about the truth behind the double murder. To this day, the case remains legally unsolved. Aarushi Talwar case remains one of India's most contentious and mysterious criminal cases. The question of who killed Aarushi and Banjade continues to elude investigators and the public. Join us next time as we continue our exploration of captivating criminal cases that challenge our understanding of justice and human nature. Until then, remember to keep your minds open and your curiosity alive. This has been Dark Tales. Thank you for listening.